Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of AA Entertainment. My name is Alexander Petri, and if you're all watching this, Baruch Hashem, I'm excited. I've had a lot of troubles uploading the footage from my camcorder, so I've mostly been uploading videos from my cell phone, which were of very poor quality. And from here on out, this is the quality that I'm looking for. Hopefully, if I get more money and if this is a success, I'll make better quality videos, perhaps even short films. So onto the subject. Today, I will be discussing my top 10 personal favorite film directors of all time. At number 10, John Waters. John Waters, he is, to newer audiences, he's mostly known for making films like Cry Baby and Hairspray, not the musical, the original film starring Divine. But before those more family-oriented classics, he got his big break by making more trashy films like Female Trouble, Pink Flamingos, Multiple Maniacs, and as a matter of fact, his very first feature film debut was Mondo Trash Show. John Waters, he has earned the nickname the Pope of Trash, and for very good reason. Even though Cry Baby and Hairspray on surface level are nothing like his earlier films like Multiple Maniacs or Pink Flamingos, they do, for any hardcore John Waters fan, you can easily tell it still has his style, it still has his, it has the running theme of, body positivity and celebrating cultural differences and urban and trash that lives in the urban environments. And aside from being a damn good filmmaker, he just looks like a very kind, loving, fun person to be around. He was even in an episode of The Simpsons playing a cartoonized version of himself. Steven Spielberg. How could I not put Steven Spielberg on this list? As a matter of fact, Steven Spielberg was the very first film director that I became obsessed with. I remember tracking down all of his films, E.T., Jaws, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Jurassic Park, and rewatching them several times. As a matter of fact, Jaws was one of the very first films that made me want to become a film director. Steven Spielberg is a master of his craft. He came out of the second golden age of Hollywood, known as the film school age of Hollywood, which featured directors such as Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg, of course, and George Lucas. Steven Spielberg does not only have a knack for adventure and suspense and horror, creating films like Close Encounters, Jaws, Duel, Jurassic Park, but he's also a master of creating more adult and emotional films like The Color Purple, Schindler's List, and Amistad. And I also highly recommend you check out the film Munich. Even though politically I'm kind of divided on the film, it is one hell of a... He really knows how to direct an action sequence. At number 8, Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense. So not only has Alfred Hitchcock given us some of the most iconic films known, of all time, such as Rear Window, North by Northwest, Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock is not known as the master of suspense for no reason. Alfred Hitchcock really knows how to keep an audience on the edge of their seat and on the tips of their toes with suspense, drama, melodrama, and horror, giving us some of the most horrific moments in all of cinema history. And he also has a really dark, twisted sense of humor, which I always admire. At number 7, Tim Burton. I love Tim Burton. Given Tim Burton tends to divide audiences, whether it's about his style or his lack thereof, which I couldn't disagree with more on. Whenever you watch a Tim Burton film, you're swept away into this whole new world of the bizarre, the horrific, the beautiful, the strange, the uncanny. His films are both incredibly surreal, avant-garde, and beautiful all at once. And he also has a very distinct sense of dark, morbid comedy, all of which blend together perfectly. Whether he's made, and given his more recent films like Dumbo and Alice in Wonderland, while they have been lacking, if you don't watch his films like Sleepy Hollow, which is my personal favorite, Ed Wood, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, or even Batman Returns, you can definitely see where Tim Burton has a knack for creating creating worlds that are unusual, that are different, that are misunderstood, much like his protagonists. At number 6, Nicholas Winding Refn. Nicholas Winding Refn, in my opinion, does not get enough love. In my opinion, well, I guess you could say this with any of these directors, he is one of the most talented film directors of all time. His films oftentimes have non-linear stories. They are unconventional, and in my opinion, that's what makes a great film director. He breaks all the rules, and his films are often ultra-violent, neon-drenched, and with amazing soundtracks. He has made films such as Bronson, Neon Demon, Drive, Only God Forgives, and Valhalla Rising. And just recently, he made a Netflix series, Too Old to Die Young. And my only complaint is I wish he'd make even more films. I can't wait to see the next Nicholas Winding Refn film in theaters. Number 5, David Lynch. If we're going to be honest, I think art house films wouldn't be the way. I don't think art house films would be as mainstream as they are today had it not been for David Lynch. David Lynch, he's an artist. He's an all-around artist. He does music, he does sculptures, paintings, but he's also mostly known for making movies. Starting off with Eraserhead, which was shown at coffee shops and dark art house theaters. It was immediately recognized by the likes of Mel Brooks, which eventually landed him in the director's seat for The Elephant Man. And unfortunately, which led to Dune. But after those two movies, as much as I love Elephant Man, he went back to making films such as Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire. So, okay, not only has David Lynch offered us some of the greatest films of all time, I also really admire him because because he's one of the very few directors who really knows how to utilize the art of film, sound, visuals, and storytelling. At number 4, Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino is, well, I think what makes Quentin Tarantino stand out from any other film director is Quentin Tarantino loves movies. He loves movies, and he's not afraid to admit it. And I don't get it, because why else would people like me and Andrew Raphael make movies unless we love movies? And whenever you watch a Quentin Tarantino film, you can clearly see how much he loves movies. And another thing I respect about him is he never went to film school. He didn't start working on sets. He just picked up a camera and started making movies. And I respect that. Whenever you watch a lot of film directors, they try to take a much more pretentious, intellectual approach to film. Quentin Tarantino loves film, and he's not afraid to admit it. And you can clearly see that watching any of his films, whether it's Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, or Inglourious Basterds. And I know a lot of people might complain that his films are too long or too violent, but come on, if you're having a director as talented as Quentin Tarantino, in my opinion, make it 10 hours long and give me all the blood and guts you can offer. At number 3, Roman Polanski. So before you all start hating me, yes, I know what the hell went on with Roman Polanski, but come on, watch any of his films and tell me he is not a talented director. Roman Polanski is a Holocaust survivor, and he lost his wife and unborn child along with a couple of his friends to the Manson family. And just watch any of his films and you can see the world through the eyes of this tortured soul and his clustered, poisoned mind. And Roman Polanski, he has given us some of the most effective horror films of all time, such as his loose apartment trilogy, Rosemary's Baby, The Tenant, and Repulsion, as well as, Macbeth, which, to be honest, is after watching Macbeth, which unfortunately was after I had to read it for my junior year of high school, made me actually appreciate William Shakespeare. Roman Polanski, he's also given us The Pianist, which my grandfather, a Holocaust survivor, praises as being the most effective and true-to-life Holocaust film he's ever seen. Okay, next up on our list is Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog is the type of director who insists on sitting behind the camera for his own film. And not only is he not afraid to take artistic risks, but he's also not afraid to take real-life risks. Whether it's eating a bowl of maggots, schlepping giant steamships up a mountain, putting people's faces on icebergs, or putting hits, hiring people to hit actors. He has also given us some of the greatest films of all time, such as Stрошik, Wojciech, Fitzcarraldo, and Grizzly Man. And as a fun little side note, if it weren't for Werner Herzog, we wouldn't have Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian. At number 1, my absolute favorite film director of all time, and in my opinion, the greatest film director of all time, Stanley Kubrick. In my opinion, I'm going to be honest, I don't think film would be what it is today had it not been for Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick has broken so many barriers and has rejuvenized the film medium. He has given us some of the most controversial and iconic films of all time, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, Lolita, Eyes Wide Shut, and The Shining. Stanley Kubrick, he was the first film director who really knew how to utilize the film medium. He really knew how to express so many intellectual and emotional themes through sound, visuals, and storytelling. And just take any Stanley Kubrick film, and there are layers upon layers of just themes and philosophical, intellectual, scientific, mathematical, themes that are running through his films. You can take an entire college course on just one of his films, whether it's Eyes Wide Shut or The Shining. And like I said, I don't think film would be what it is today had it not been for Stanley Kubrick. And for an honorable mention, I would like to throw a special shout out to Gaspar Noé. I'm going to be honest, I've only seen 3 of his films, and Gaspar Noé, given he's not as well known as some other film directors, but I'm going to be honest, having watched movies like Irreversible and Climax, which I cannot praise enough, seriously, just stop this video right now and go watch Climax. After watching some interviews with him, Gaspar Noé, he likes to break barriers. He breaks barriers, he breaks rules, and along with Werner Herzog, I think Gaspar Noé, if we were to give him a lot more, resources, I really think he can take film, the entire film industry, into a whole new direction. So thank you for watching this. This has been a AA Entertainment presentation. My name is Alexander Petri. Subscribe, like, and let me know who your favorite film director of all time is.